Hey you, welcome to Adulting's Ghetto. We all know adulting is truly overrated, so what better way to survive this ratchet place than coming together to share our stories and words of wisdom with one another. Join us as we discuss all things adulting from the following aspects of adulthood: finances, relationships, spirituality, and even health. This podcast is a great source to get all tips and tricks as you manage to survive adulting. After all, we already know adulting is truly ghetto.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Adulting Is Ghetto. I'm super excited because we're doing things different today. Got my girl Julia here with me.
You already know the vibe.
And you already know we're going to do something different, okay? And I hope you guys okay. So this time around, y'all always see me interviewing. But this time I'm going to be interviewed. And
yes, it's time to switch things up so that people know, like, who they dealing with.
Right. And how crazy I am in real life, right? No, but if you've been watching for a while or you know me in real life, obviously I am multifaceted. But, you know, I think the audience deserves to know who they're talking to.
Definitely.
And so she's going to help administrate that. And hopefully you get some cool gems about me.
Yes.
Or just tea. No, I'm kidding.
We're going to give y'all a little tea.
Just a little bit. Okay, well, go ahead, take it away.
Awesome.
I don't even know the questions, y'all, so this is real.
Oh, yeah, she's going to be
candid. Okay.
Right.
I'm nervous.
So, everybody wants to know, is Jadah single?
Wow. And we're starting there.
Like that.
We're starting there.
Yes,
Okie dokie. Well, is water wet? No, I'm kidding. No. Okay, yes, no, I am single. Well, shoot, by the time this air, who knows, right? But no, currently right now I am single. Single and, what is it, ready to mingle or whatever? Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it's 2023. I don't know if we're even mingling at this point.
At this point, we're surviving. Right? Like, I'm trying to get my life together before I even invite anybody else in. But no, I am single. However, you know, I'm open, you know. I want to get married one day. I would love to love. I love love, if you guys haven't obviously understood that. So, yeah, one day, where my Prince Charming at? Where you at?
Well, so I really want to know, like, for you, what is, like, the ideal guy? Like, for you to be like, ooh, like, this could be, like, my future right here.
Okie dokie. Wow. All right, y'all.
What you looking for?
What I'm looking for. So I actually have a thing, and I learned this from my dad. Shout out to my pops, my daddy's girl. I actually don't tell a man what I'm looking for because then they become the best Grammy Award winning actor that you could possibly have. And so, yeah, so I actually don't say anything like that. I want you to be your authentic self, and we'll see if it meshes just because I'm doing that too. I don't ask what you want in a woman because I'm not going to now have a subconscious script to follow. I'm just going to do what I do, right? And we can communicate, of course. Like, we always talk about preference. But, like, what, like a blueprint? No, I wouldn't say it out loud. Okay. However, to answer your question and entertain this, I do have non-negotiables. So maybe you could say that.
What's your non-negotiables?
Yes, so do not approach me. Okay, no. I just get it. No, I'm really nice. But no, honestly, one of my top 3 is, one, you got to be God-fearing. I'm very big on that.
Yes.
I'm a God-fearing woman. If you have not noticed, I have a whole segment of spirituality on here for a reason. Right. I love God, and you know, you don't love God, what's wrong with you? True. Like, type stuff. You know what I mean? Right. And you know, you can find God, then come find me. So that's a big deal. Yeah,
that's a thing.
Because I want to be able to pray with my husband, my man. You know, that's gonna be my husband. Worship with him. I think it's a beautiful intimacy moment, and I'm really looking for kingdom relations.
Yeah, and I think it's like provides a different level of vulnerability.
It does.
You know, because it's like, damn, we're praying together.
Yes. And like also too, it forms a bond and trust, but we also invite the greatest, I think, love author there is, right? Which is Jesus. So, you know, why not invite to have discretion and, you know, discernment about things. So I'm very serious about that. Yeah, the other one I would say is financially sound and aware. It is a big thing. Yes, and I say it this way because people be like, oh, she just want a nigga with money. No, but yes. I am direct. But I say that because I do have it to say it, right? I'm not out here, though. I hate the narrative. Oh, these girls just want me after my money. What money? Like, there's no goal to dig.
Talk about that because it's like.
It's not. You know what I mean?
If you make like 40K, yeah, like. She's not about to be breaking your pocket.
I'm not. I'm really not. I'm not even asking for much, actually. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Right.
asking you to get your stuff together. And there's nothing wrong with people making that too. Let's be very clear.
Right.
What I'm saying is the non-negotiable, and that's why I'm very clear about what I say of financially aware and sound. You could start with anything, because I've also experienced unemployment where I was making good money and lost the job. So
Facts.
now what? But it's the financial awareness and being financially sound that helped me through the time period. You know what I'm saying?
So you don't want to do that's buying sections every other weekend.
No, because for what? Like, niggas, there was a meme about that. Niggas buy section thinking they buying land. If it was that simple, if it was buying land every weekend, oh, baby, what's up?
Right.
Like, you know, we playing
Let's
Monopoly.
talk about it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't want you buying no section every, like, I mean, for your birthday, cool. Like, that's my
Right.
big thing. People that know are my clients, financial clients, they know that's my, not it, because that sounds bad, but that's my
It's just it's a hangout.
That's my thing.
It's a leisure activity.
yes,
like,
I will spend thousands of dollars. I do not care, like, because it's my birthday. So I feel that.
But your birthdays be lit.
Thank
Maybe
you.
like a whole movie for real.
You heard it here first, folks,
So,
okay?
like, if you get an invite to Jadah's birthday, just know you made it.
Yes,
Like,
and I fuck with you. Because it's hard to travel with black people, okay?
Right.
And I love all my friends, but everyone cannot make it. I'm kidding. No, I always tell people, because people will be like, how do you be putting on these really big things? And
she be getting everybody together, and
I'm super
I don't
grateful.
Be understanding how there's no fights, there's no arguments, there's
None of
nothing.
that.
Everybody chilling, drinking, partying,
None
like,
of that.
laughing, creating memories.
God
So,
is good.
yeah.
It really, and I think it's so funny because most recently, obviously with the Enlight, with people doing group trips and like people are not making it back,
Yeah.
I was like so shocked because I was like, I could never see any of my friends doing that. And those are
Right.
real friends. So I don't know what, in light of that, RIP to her. But like, to be honest, I could never fathom that. And
Right.
my mom and I were talking. She was like, you got to be careful when you're inviting. I said, honestly, I've been doing this for years and we're good. If
Right.
anything, if anyone wanted to try it, they were going to be the screwed up ones because my friends will fight.
Oh yeah.
Plus me, I'm be
It's
drunk.
not,
but-
but that's the other thing too. I think also just being aware of like your personality traits and the
Yeah.
people you surround yourself with, because it's like ultimately everybody that you're able to bring together, we all have similar personality traits,
Right.
so it's not a problem. Like, everybody's
Exactly.
gonna respect each other's space.
It's just a decency level of respect.
Yeah.
Because, like, you don't even got to like my friends' friends, but I just try to make sure you at least know somebody else outside of me on a
Right.
trip. That's my rule. If anyone, everyone. Because then people ask me, like, how do you put a big trip together? I'm like, first of all, money is serious. So I try to get into a place where either people trust me to give me their money or
Right.
it's a system like cruises have individual group links where you can pay on your own. So you're not
Right.
feeling weird.
Which you shouldn't feel weird.
You shouldn't. But some people have their own insecurities. I work with clients. So that's why I'll be like trying to give space. Payment plans is a thing. So no one
Right.
feels put upon, if that makes
Right.
sense. And then, of course, like I said, everyone knows at least one more person or bring someone that I know that I trust or cool with,
Right.
you know,
Right.
with
No weird
in addition to
energy.
me. Yeah.
No weird energy.
And also the real key to it is co-ed trips. I don't know why girls be trying, no offense. I love a good girls trip. I rarely go on them
Where's the
because
niggas? I'm sorry.
yeah, honestly, it's too
We
much
need
estrogen.
some-
It
some
is.
masculine energy.
Because honestly, I think sometimes, let's be real, ladies, we do a lot of things too for men as well. We go on a girl trip, we're like, where the niggas at? You got those people that's like that, that's fine. And then you got
Right.
people that's like, oh, I'm cool with that. Or people that got niggas.
Right.
Let's do a balance, right? Like, let's have co-ed trips. I'm grateful to have guy and girlfriends that are cool vibes. They're not creepy or weirdos. Of course, if you do whatever you want on your trip, that's your business.
Right.
But it's very much so respect, obviously, you
And
know?
I think it keeps the group safe.
It
because
does.
it's
That's the
like,
other thing.
We're girls and we got
That is the other thing.
masculine, you know, dudes with us. People are gonna be thinking twice about like, wait a minute.
People think I do it because I'm like, oh, I'm just trying to like play matchmaker. No, my daddy told me like, if I'm gonna do a trip, niggas need to be on there. Like that he trusts. So that's where it started. And after that, I was like, that's why I would tell him. I was like, oh, none of that shit would ever happen because I'll be damned. I think no nigga is gonna sit here and let girls fight or get out of hand in that regard. Not saying we would get out of hand, but I'm just saying like that's just not the vibe.
Exactly.
It really is not. So I'm grateful. And also I have to say shout out to the amazing people and the participants that come because y'all make the trip. Like I could plan out the wazoo, but y'all's energy when y'all come and it's really fun. I really thoroughly enjoy it. And I
Show up
always
and show out.
yeah,
Like-
it's love. It really makes me so happy. And I honestly pray too. That's the other thing. People be like, because I send out a lot of invites. I mean, I talk to so many people. I'm like, y'all come And I'd be like kind of upset sometimes when some people can't make it for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But I always pray a special prayer. I'd be like, Lord, the right people that need to be here, let them be here. The people that don't need to be here, don't need to be here. No offense. But it's like whatever that is, because you know what's going to happen.
Right.
And I'm telling you, that prayer gets answered every time because we have a great time. We come back alive and even better. And the new connections. Those friends make friends.
True.
Which I'm all here for. So,
if you had a potential bae, would they be invited on the trip or not?
You know, that's a great question, Julia. I really should have pre-screened all these questions. Ooh, it's hot. So that depends. I've always thought that. I am single. I have been operating in singleness for the past few years since I've been here. So I've never had this issue. I do believe that if I had a bae, I would like him to come. However, I really think on those trips, I do like the single side of me. And so there's like levels to it. I do think when you do have a relationship, you enter a relationship, there's some expectations that come with that.
Right.
And all in all to say, I just feel like I'd rather do a vacation with my man first before we bring him on a group trip.
Definitely.
You know, just to test the waters. But the other part is they would be friends anyway, so it wouldn't be a problem in that regard.
Sure.
But I don't do the you coming on my trip and you're not my man. Because in that case, things can go left. And
very true.
And those things have happened, yes, where things are not clear. And I do not want to encounter those emotions ever again. So we're going to keep it like that for the camera. But no, seriously, I just feel like my man, potential bae, it wouldn't be a potential. My man is coming on my trip is my man. Okay. Like everyone knows that. So it would be already like respected. Right. It's not a potential bae. We don't do potential bae. I mean, you could come on trip as a potential bae and whatever happens on trip, whatever happens. Right. But like understand like, yeah. Cause like you never know.
Like if you made it to the trip, you're bae.
Yeah. I feel like all my friends that come on, they are friends. And now whatever happens, if people get lit, that's your business. Not saying that happens so much, but I'm just saying like they're friends. Everyone's open to whatever. They down for whatever. You know what I mean? Right. So I wouldn't put anyone that I want for myself in that scenario. Yeah, no. Because then at that point, when I become cuffed up, we're taking couple trips.
Right.
You got your nigga, I got mine. There's no need to, let's play chicken. No, not with my nigga.
We're not playing spin the bottle.
No. We play couple certified games. So that's probably why we haven't even crossed that, because I'm single.
Right. Understood.
I'm crazy. I know.
So,
did I answer the question? I'm sorry. I know we went everywhere. I feel like I did.
Yeah, you did.
Okay. Yeah, y'all got it.
You got at least 2.
That's all that matters. Everything else, if you want to, you can shoot your shot. Or not. Wait, actually, I do want to make one point about the financially sound. I'm sorry. Because I think, like I said, we joked about the gold digger. Right. I'm not after your money. What I'm after is, just kidding. I really just want companionship. Obviously, some of you guys do know, some of y'all don't know. I'm a financial educator. I really am big about finance and generational wealth and building it. Right. Shout out to my business, Adulting with Moi. Julia knows. Sure y'all sign up. Yes, Julia knows dear and well. This is my brand marketer. Like literally love her life. And so pretty much with that said, since I have a desire in that, I want my husband to also have a desire in some type of way. I do believe in equally yoked. And so if you are, I don't care how much you're making right now. It's more so like, where's your ambition? And is there action behind it? You know what I'm saying? I'm not at my highest paid salary that I'll be in my world, of course. I do make good money, but that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to make good money, but also like retire myself. I'm trying to retire both of us, right? Like we need to be working towards that, where we're living our own life on our own terms, out of this capitalist society. If that makes sense.
Inflation is going crazy.
Okay, because at this point, I'm tired. And that's the thing. So that's what I'm saying with that. Not like because I want to spend your money. No, I'm trying to feel like, let's get together and like, and I mean this in married way, but like, can we really have conversation where like one salary is what we live off of, the other salary we're investing purely for a few years before we have kids. That. Like, are you cool to have that conversation? Like, what's up? That's what I mean. Right. And you need to be financially sound and aware to even discuss any of that. So that's what I mean.
So as far as the financially sound, and I like how you spoke about like your dad and like the things that he's coached you on. How did you see, like, growing up with, like, your father and your mother's, like, financial structure that, like, made you want to say, like, hey, I want to, like, go in this lane, or like, what did you identify with?
These are great questions, Jules. Ciao. Okay, let me keep it cute, okay, because, you know, my parents watching. Hey, my dad. Okay, so, you know, respectfully, I think the way I grew up made me how I am, to be financially conscious. My parents worked really hard. Middle class parents, shout out to y'all. They did what they could, and the recession took them both out. Like a lot of people, a lot of parents. I still believe that a lot of families, we don't talk about it, but the recession, yeah, it was back in 2008, excuse me. But people are still rebutting from that. And people don't think about that. But financially, if you were not prepared for situations that are emergencies such as that, which my parents kind of weren't, because they weren't taught that, which is not their fault. It's like, you know, we're still dealing with it. I was getting into my boarding school at the time. Gratefully, I got a scholarship, so it didn't really affect me, which was so great. However, my parents had to make tough decisions of draining their 401k, draining their emergency funds. The way my parents lost their job, it was between like a month of each other. So like one of them lost and it was like, okay, well, we'll be working on yours. But then while they trying to get their shit together, the other one lost it. So at this point, you know, right.
At a deficit. Wow.
Right. Crazy. And so when you think about that situation, especially in our generation, we talk about like, well, the man need to be the man. Both y'all lost your job. So what's up? Who's yelling at who? You know what I'm saying? And you shouldn't. You guys both have to like attack the problem together. It's not y'all. And that's what I noticed. And so with that said, I was very keen because I started realizing, at a young age, I realized, I was like, we're not going out like we used to. Like every weekend, we go to the movies, we go to the mall, we do all these things. And I was like, why are we not doing this? Yeah. And they never told me everything, but I noticed things change. And that's when I was like, well, I don't ever want to go through that. You know, and obviously I can't predict a recession. Obviously we're here, but I can prepare. And that's what really triggered me to be like, I want to do better. And it's not no shade to them, just they didn't know better. And they taught me saying, you need to make sure you do what you need to do so that you cannot be in the situation we are in now. And so that's why I save, that's why I invest, that's why I'm so keen on that. And fortunately, I've been let go before, and honestly, will depend on when it's aired. I've been let go and I was unemployed for about 2 months and a half. I've been thriving. No one would have never known unless I told you, because of the emergency funds I have, severance package, of course, but also too, like just planning ahead if something were to happen. And that's this is what I mean. And this is living my parents' wildest dream of like, I'm good. Of course I got another job because duh, I need something. But you know, I was cool if not. And also too, it really is all to God's grace, honestly, and mercy that he sustained everything.
But definitely, like, I love how you stated, like, you know, hey, you prepared for it. So, and nobody would have known without you even saying it.
No.
And I think,
by the grace of God.
You know, but those are, like, some of the major things where it can kind of, like, set us back so much because we're not prepared.
Yes.
And we're worried about, like, oh, my God, like, it's going to show, like,
no,
you know.
Yeah.
So I think that's really, really dope that you, like, focused and was very strategic on, like, hey, the worst can happen. Let me brace myself for the impact. Right.
And God is good. Like I said, this is not just like, oh, I came up with the idea. I mean, this is between my dad gifting me some money from he won from a settlement. This is between me saving on my own. This is between a lot of things, making decisions. Am I going to take a severance package, blah, 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 and give up legal rights about certain things. And either way, I was able to be in a comfort space because I knew that my bills were paid for at least 3 months, you know, and that was longer than I needed, obviously. So I was good. And this is the thing. You start now when you have the job, whatever you're doing. You don't wait till turmoil to, you know, do better. You know what I'm saying? Or you can, when you go through it, you realize, oh, I'm never going to be in this position, vulnerable state again. Like I said, I am a very big learner of other people's lessons personally. And I'm grateful for that. Like, I've never been in a relationship, but I've have so much relationship advice, wisdom, and stuff because I listen to my friends and really be like, oh, is that what you do? Okay. You know, no judgment, but like, okay, maybe this is what I wouldn't do. Or if I see that, I won't do that. You know what I mean? And I really am avid on that. So I took my parents' situation and they taught me, they were like, try not to be in the situation. I'm like, cool. Can't control the government and how we do our money, but I can control what be in my bank account.
That's a fact.
And how I spend it.
Control what you can control.
Exactly. And that's what I tell my clients. Like, I think you can do it. I think it's better to do it when in a good season because it gets really stressful.
Right.
And that's the last thing you want to be worrying about when you're under a financial stress. Yeah.
So let's talk about little Jadah for a moment.
Oh, God.
So did little Jadah know that
I feel like we need to have a picture pop up.
Be a financial advisor?
No.
What did little Jadah want to be?
Child.
Give me like 8-year-old you.
Oh, God. I need to find a picture now so I can pop up.
Kindergartner.
What did Jadah want to be? Little Jadah. Hey, girl. Inner child moment. Honestly, she wanted to do everything under the sun.
Really?
Yes. Like, my parents will tell you, I'm grateful for my parents. Shout out to y'all. When I tell you, I would come home and, like, say we saw something and it was, like, a fashion designer. Mm-hmm. I would go home and be like, Ma, I want to be a fashion designer. And I couldn't draw a button, no bit. And my mom knew. They invested in me. They bought me a sewing machine. I had to prove myself that I meant what I meant when I said. And so they would do that. Child, I remember this singer like 3,000, really good sewing machine if you are aware of those. And I touched it about once or twice, and it collected dust for the rest of that summer. And I was just like, wow. And I look back, I'm like, thank you, parents, for always, whatever I said, y'all will be down with it,
Right.
But with that said, I had many hats. I didn't know what I was going to be. Honestly, I just wanted to be a free spirit. And I still do want that for myself, inner big Jadah. And I think there was never one job for me, if that makes sense. I just always had ideas. I've always wanted to be successful, whatever that meant. Of course, successful means different things, but I wanted to be financially free. I wanted my stress to be light. And that's what that was. I never had like a dream job, if that makes sense. I just wanted to be living that life, whatever that meant, So I don't know if that answers your questions, but no, seriously. I mean, I'm here. This came about me being a financial educator. The business, that came back during my adult years. That wasn't baby Jadah's dreams because it happened when I was an adult where I was like, oh, entrepreneur.
Right.
Like, I don't have to work for someone. I like that. And I was in Atlanta. And I was talking to someone that was an entrepreneur. So I was like, ooh, that was so different from the script that my parents kind of gave me of like, graduate from a good job, get a good corporate job, work it up, which I hated, still do, but you gotta do what you gotta do. You know what I'm saying? Unless you find a good company. So,
So then, especially since like you grew up with this ideology of like, go to college, graduate, get a really great job, work your way through that corporate ladder. Mm-hmm. What would you say, like when you talked to that entrepreneur when you moved here, that made you say like, oh, entrepreneurship is for me. Like corporate, that's cool, but nah, this is what I want to succeed in.
Yeah, I think, that's a continuation of a question, I think. I feel like I don't believe myself as deemed as that successful in it just yet, in a sense where I retire myself. That's what I deemed as successful. I am successful in the sense I have clients. I have amazing metrics. Y'all know them. You want me to state them? I don't know if you would.
Yes.
I
need you to.
This. She's like, talk about yourself. Okay.
No, like big yourself up because you do some pretty amazing things.
Thank you.
And I don't think we know enough about them. Like, I don't know. Like, this is really the financial GOAT here. So
I appreciate it.
I'm
God
about
is
to give
good.
you a moment to talk about your accolades and just lay them out for everybody to see.
Well, I'm nothing without my clients because obviously y'all need to listen to me. But I'm super, super grateful to stay. I guess as of now, I've helped all my clients or folks that listen to me to save over $95,000, which is great, through saving challenges, through my memberships, through just listening to me talk about it. And then to this day, pay off about $110,000 worth of debt, including myself paying off $10,000 consumer debt in a year. So that is just the methods I use, and I just teach them. So I'm super excited. Shout out to y'all for doing it and listening to me. We're going to have some updated numbers because this year, obviously, we have more saving challenges, stuff like that. So I'm excited and more members. So, yeah. But with that said.
See, that's huge. You're, like, changing people's lives.
It is. That's what I'm saying. Like, okay.
You're changing the trajectory of their family dynamic and everything.
Amen.
So it's like, I want you to live in that, embrace that, because you are that.
Thank you. And yes, that is a passion of mine. I get so excited. That's my biggest thing. I used to do it for free, obviously, and then people like yourself, and other folks were like, girl, this is a business. And I was like, okay, because I didn't know. And so, but yes, you're right. And so with that said, the I deem as successful is like when I can retire myself with my passive streams. So that's what I'm saying. I'm still working on it. Right. But to answer your question, what made me think that? It really made me think that because I think God dropped it in my heart. Like, it was a passion of mine. I really did care about finances because I started taking care of my own self.
Right.
And that's when I was like, oh, let me do this myself because I'm a little nerdy. I love learning about numbers and making sure I'm good because that's what little Jadah wanted. Right. So I started doing that. And then my friends would just listen to me, or I'll be talking about it so much. You're like, what are you talking about? And we'd be just talking about things. She'd be like, oh, I have a 401k. I don't really know what that means. And I'm like, me either. And I would just take the step to look it up.
Right.
And so now I started turning into like the person that knew about these things. And then that's really what happened. Then my friends would listen to me. Shout out to y'all. And that's when they were like, you know, you should start doing this consulting. And I just didn't think I was in place at the time because I was like not there financially. But God knew. And that's the thing. So I just moved with transparency. And I think that's where the authenticity really sells my business because I'm like, I'm no better than you. I'm just learning while we're growing.
Right.
And I show you with my methods, like those things I've done, it's because I've done it. Now you can do the same thing and do the same thing. You know what I mean? Right. I don't overpromise or underdeliver unless you don't do it. That's the only reason. And that's the catch.
Right. So would you say that a lot of times when you're working with clients, you're really kind of combating their mindset and also like their habits?
Yes, it really is a habit. And it's so funny because shout out to my clients, of course, it's discretion. So I will not be saying any names, obviously. But, you know, a typical client typically would be like, they'll come and be like, I want to be saving better. I want to invest. I want to do all these things, which is great. I love that. Right. I can't give you advice until I see what you have. So, of course, we go through our contracts, you know. She set me up with that, you know, legally binding. Okay, we are a business. You are not suing this girl right here, okay? But with that said, once we do talk, a lot of the times it is a lot of like, changing of habits and changing of your mindset around money. And then I realized it's deeper than just like, I can tell you what to do. It's how you grew up with money. And that's where I'm like, dang, I feel like I'm like a financial therapist, you know, because I'm like going through conversations with you. Obviously, we have our sessions, depending on what membership you have. And we're talking. And then most times, a lot of these things like, well, I did this way because I grew up this way. And because I viewed money this way. And it turns into, because that's the same thing. I just told you earlier, because my parents' situation with the recession, watching my parents, I paid attention to that. That changed me. A lot of the millennials all had parents that went through the recession.
Definitely.
And that probably could have triggered them in their own way, whether they survived it or held on to dear life or still struggling through it to this day.
Facts.
You can either take that and move with it and change with it or not. And that's what I would be dealing with. So it is a little combative, but not in a root, like a argumentative way. It's just like, hey, if you want better, you have to do better. Right? And so let's just look at your fears of money. Because some people have fear of money. When they get it, they're like, I don't even want to spend it. When it's like, okay, that's fine.
You're preaching right there.
You know what I mean?
Money, you can become that fearful of money because if you've lost so much money, you don't trust yourself. It's like, oh my God, I don't want
And whose fault is that? There's no one's fault, and it's just life happened that way. Mm-hmm. But you can try to change your mindset of like, let's put safety nets out, right? Which is like the emergency funds, or let's put some of this money in investments that, you know, not saying they can't fail, but like they could be moving and making you money just in case if something were to happen. You know what I'm saying? And of course, this is all within reason. Like I said, no, I always say this, all my clients know, there's not one size shoot that fits all. So what I'm saying to one client may not even matter to you and what you got going on, because you may have kids, you may be married. This person may be just single and all they got to worry about is themselves, right? And that's a total different worth of advice that I would give. I mean, to a degree, you know? So yeah.
So what's the most money you've ever spent in a day?
Oh, that's interesting.
Yes.
How much? Okay, it definitely had to be around my birthday because I'm very frugal. I like to use the word frugal because there's a difference between cheap and frugal.
What's the difference?
Cheap? You don't want to be cheap. Cheap is like, you don't care about the quality. You don't care about, I think, you know, like, you know, nothing's wrong. Like, I'm eating McDonald's, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I wanted a snack and it's right there, obviously. I don't call that.
Really great drunk food.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? I'm not, so we're not talking quality in that. But more so like, frugal in my definition, we can look it up, but like frugal to me is just like, you are aware of that you can spend the money, but you choose not to, depending on some whatever reasons. I'm very big on quality. So yeah, I know where I am in my life. Do I like designer? Yes, but I'm not gonna cash out, ball out on things I know I can't afford. That's frugality to me because you're conscious of your decision that you're making. You know what I mean? Whereas I can do that and I'll treat myself once a year on my birthday because that's the time. But that's for me, right? And that's me choosing. Cheap, in my opinion, is like, I just want the cheapest thing. Don't matter about the quality. Don't matter about what's going on. So that can go with food.
Right.
That could go with
everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
What you take on. Like if I'm trying to if I want a financial advisor, which I do have one, or a CPA, I pay them.
Right.
So I pay them quality money. That's an investment. That to me is not cheap. I'm not looking for the cheapest person there because I want you to make sure you're doing this right and you're taking my shit seriously. You know what I mean?
Because I think you're always going to pay for stuff. You're either going to pay for it in money or you're going to pay for it in hardship.
Heck yeah.
So either or your time. When you spent, the 7,000 in one day, which is, I think it's incredible. I think it's actually pretty good.
Sounds crazy to me. I'm cringing.
Were there any type of like issues or anything because you are spending like a whole lot of money in like a whole new country?
I know. So that did happen.
Run into like any issues?
Yes. So like, shout out to my bro Charlie and this is why it's good to be equally you got friends that got money too because. Look, we ain't out here with no poor people, you feel me? No, because my card declined because we're in a new country, and when you spend thousands of dollars, obviously it's going to be like, what the is going on? You know what I'm saying? Fraud. And so I didn't have service or Wi-Fi to then call them to do it. Because, you usually just unlock it. Right. I was trying to do it. It was taking so long. And I was like, damn. And I was like, this looks mad embarrassing. My bro was like, sis, I got you. And literally pulled out his card, went through immediately. And, of course, I paid him back. So, like, it's just, like, that's the thing. So
that's some real, like, and didn't, like, pressure you, like, go, so where's my money?
No. And I told him, I was like, first of all, because I also, like I said, I wasn't expecting to pay the extra $2,000.
Right.
Or the $4,000, excuse me, because I was just going to do the regular cabana. But there was, like, VIP deck. And I'm like, okay, why not? And it was so great. We had a great time. And so, with that said, I was like, bro, I'm going to pay you back. But the extra $3,000, I was like, when I get back home, let me just see my finance. He was like, sis, you're good. And I told him, I said, I always tell people, be honest. I think honesty really goes further.
Right.
And I was like, honestly, if I do this payment plan for you, I could do it in 3 months. I made sure I gave him that time period, but I did it way less. I did it in a month because I just don't want you ever pressing me for money when I hate that feeling. And I hate owing people. But also, too, you did a big grand gesture that you did not have to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I would have been like, took that like, oh, shit, all right, it's a sign. Maybe I shouldn't do it.
Right.
But he's like, no, it's your birthday, sis. Like, I got you.
No, that's right.
And I appreciate it. And I paid him back and then some, just because I also didn't want him to have interest or anything. That's why I was like, let me make sure you do it immediately. So, but like I said, it comes down to you got to have money to play. And it was just really, it was a great experience though.
That's great.
But now I'm prepared to have cash money records at this point because I don't play that. Because clearly I am a product of consumerism.
I think we all are at this
point.
So, okay, if somebody gave you $250,000 right now,
wow,
what are the first 5 things you're gonna do with it?
5 things. That's a lot. Oh my God.
It can be 3 to 5.
Okay. I'll be like, oh my God, thanks. No, I'm kidding, no. I'll be like, this string attached to this? It's just money to me.
It's just money. Free and clear yours.
Okay, so $250,000. I'm gonna try to not get too nerdy on y'all. Okay, so
you
$250,000.
Do the breakdown for the people at home.
Okay, so $250,000 is a nice chunk of change. Obviously, I would clear out all my debt at that point because I'm like, why not? Zero it out. So yes, I'll do that, which would be like not that much of that. So let's just take it down to 200. Then you have 200,000. 200,000 is still a beautiful number. I would take a portion of that and of course invest it. I have investment plans already lined up. So I'm I'm very big on intentionality and writing things down. So like whenever I come across the money, whenever I get or save up or invest into a point, it's go time, if that makes sense. Right. So I want to own like a quadplex. So that's something I would probably invest in quickly, immediately, because that money you could do that. Right. Or a home or something like that has a way to like make it into a multiple one person. So I would definitely be doing that mainly. And I'll take a portion, of course, for myself, maybe about 10, 20, depending.
Okay.
Nothing too much because I'm just disciplined like that. I think that's a huge blessing. Definitely going to be traveling, though. I'll take that 10 to 20 to travel, or like, yeah, I'll definitely save it to travel or something like that.
Okay.
But outside of that, that's all I would do. Like,
That's
I don't know if that, yeah. I feel like it has to happen. I'll be like, let me tell y'all what I'm really doing. But, oh yeah, I would make sure my parents is good too. Because like, well, that's in my investments, my passive streams, if that makes sense. Like me building these passive streams is to help secure our financial future financially in the future. So yeah, I just said that twice, but yeah.
No, but I think that's good though. The reason why I asked that is because, you know, a lot of us, we talk about like, oh man, I wish I could just get, you know, a large lump sum of money.
Yes.
But a lot of times people don't even know what they would generally do with a large lump sum of money.
And it takes discipline too, because I was telling one of my clients this, and I even told myself this. With my new job, I'm making more money, which is great. However, yes, thank you. It's so funny because a lot of people are like, oh, you know, what are we out? I'm not changing my lifestyle. Like, no, I've learned to live within it. I live a great life. I'm very grateful for that. This is now to do all the things I was saying I was coming for. The investing, the making sure my 401k is, or not 401k, excuse me, my personal Roth IRAs are set up. And that when I reach a certain age, I got that in insurance, you know, health, life insurance, all that great stuff that I see, all these great tips. Making sure my savings is rebuild it back because I did use it, you know. So like stuff like that. Like that's the point of it. And I think it's discipline. Yeah. So when the $250,000 come, amen, because we're gonna claim it, I'll steward it well because I've been able to do with little, and that's what I think. That's what I think God be wanting. You know, I feel like if we get everything we want, we would mishandle that so badly.
I'm so happy you touched on that because I can 100% agree with you on that. Because even me, I've mishandled money.
Same. I'm not perfect now.
And I think this year I'm being very like intentional about that. So like me mishandling $350,000 made me be like, you need to do something with your life decisions.
See?
And so I'm so happy that you talk about like the discipline and the habits of making those conscious choices.
Yeah.
Because
when you know or you're used to it, it will be like, it's not like it's nothing because that's a huge deal, but it's like, okay, this is it. Because when I got my new job, I knew exactly. I was like, I'm not taking a job that doesn't make at least this much because I have goals, right? I'm in the space where I can ask for more. I'm going to do that, right? And so I did. And when I got it, I was like, bet. This was all because it was part of the plan to be able to hit these moments because I know after taxes, I'm making this much. We could be blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah, you know, you can inflate your lifestyle a little bit. Nothing's wrong with that. Live your life. But like, for me and my house, I have some goals. And when y'all see me in them years and it's like, oh, did you hit those goals? I did.
Right.
I did by the grace of God. And it's because of this discipline. And I am. That's it. That's it. And your goals is your goals. No one got to be like me. That's another thing. I think a lot of people sometimes it comes with my clients. Oh, I'm trying to be like you. No, you shouldn't. You should be however you are with your money.
Right.
I'm just here to help you prepare yourself. Right. You coming to me saying, I want to save this much. Okay, well, you need to downplay some of the stuff that you got going on to do this. Or find a higher paying job or whatever. Because sometimes you could budget all your life or all you want, but you just actually need higher income, which has nothing to do with you.
That's the thing.
You know?
And I like how you said, like, oh, I chose a job in regards of the pay structure that fits with my goals, that aligns with my goals. And I think a lot of people, especially you get to those critical moments within like your money situation and your lifestyle where you're like, I just need something and it doesn't even align with your goals. And then you're basically at square one still.
You are. Kind of what you said. You said you're either going to sacrifice the time or the money or the hardship. Mm-hmm. I think for me and people who've known me, I've struggled with doing a job because my resume just made sense to do it. Did I like that job? Hell to the no. Okay? However, it paid the bills and I had responsibilities. I took care of my mother at a point and there was a lot of things. I had to make sure it was in place. I'm now in a place where I'm by myself again. Cool. But I had to set. And it's okay to reset. There's things that happen. And now I was blessed to have opportunity to get into an industry where I think this is really what I want, which is even amazing. On top of that, it's a blessing. Yeah. But now I'm like, okay, and then on top of that, let's ask for this money. And God made it work. Honestly, this has nothing to do with me and my talents at all. Honestly,
Right.
I received a lot of no's before this yes. And people do not speak on that, but I would. You know, it looks beautiful on paper. People say, "Oh, less than a month, you got a job offer." Baby, this has been a prayer in the making for over a year. Definitely years, actually. Because I hated all the jobs prior to this. Let's just be for real.
Yeah.
This was never what I wanted to do. Once I realized it wasn't a good fit from the first time. It just, hey, capitalist society. You need money to live. You need money to play.
Unfortunately, we're not able to barter anymore.
No. And I'm not a rich, privileged person, you
Right.
know? So I had to like do what I have to do now to do what I want to do later. And that's what
Right.
my mom always taught me. And that's what I do say to everybody. Sometimes you got to sacrifice. Everything's not going to be peachy, cute, and clean.
Right.
But you know, make do what you got. You got God on your side. You look up and you keep grinding, you know? And that's where my faith comes in.
So, I want to know a little bit more. How often would you say like you talk to God?
Girl, every day.
I know that's
I would love
right.
to say every second, but I'd be lying. God be like,
That wouldn't even be.
that wouldn't make sense because I'll be talking to him right now. Hey, no, I talk to him every day.
Nice.
Yes, I mean, I think it's your own journey is your own journey. I've known God all my life because I grew up in the church. Shout out to my parents, like I said. However, I was able to have my own encounter with God and know him for myself when I went to boarding school.
Nice.
Yeah, because I was now introduced into a space where everything wasn't cultivated around like we go to church on Sundays, you know what I'm saying? That discipline was there, but there was no church in Williamstown, Massachusetts that I would go to, you know, that I would like. So I would maybe tune in if they did the online service or make my own version of church, which was looking at scriptures or talking to God with my Christian friends if they were there at the school or just whatever that looked like. And to be honest, God meets you wherever you are.
Facts.
So that's where I've learned. And that's when I was like going through my own struggles in high school, at a boarding school. And so I had my own encounter with God in school. Being in boarding school, I felt like when I was praying and then he would show himself through different beautiful ways. You know, I think that's when I realized, oh, God is real for me.
Right.
And that's when I started pursuing God on my own terms, not just because my parents told me, if that makes sense. So long story short, I talk to God all the time. I think my relationship has grown because life be lifing, and I cling on to his unchanging hand. Okay, look, okay, no, seriously. And it's funny because there was a reel about that. It was like when God said, hold my hand, like, you know, and then he'd be like, don't leave yet. Now it's time to go. You're like, oh my God, you gotta hold on. You really gotta hold on. And yeah, so I think I've definitely talked to him way more. I have more discipline. Same thing with life. I do devotions in the morning.
Nice.
And I pray. But I will be quick to say this. God is not a genie. God is not a formulated type of person. I think sometimes as humans.
He's not AI.
He's not AI, okay? Chat, G, whatever, PT, he ain't that. He do know everything, but, you know, that's not it. And I think sometimes as humans, we can get so like, well, I fast at this time and I prayed. I said, I deserve what I got.
Right.
That's not how that works. You know what I'm saying? It really isn't. And I've been humbled to see that because I've done a lot of those things. I'm like, okay, well, God, what's up? And he's told me like, you know, sometimes you be like, oh, God, I wish I could be in a place where I got it. I got it all together. He was like, well, if you did, shout out to Sarah Jakes, you wouldn't need me.
Exactly.
So,
what would I be here for?
Yeah. And so technically it's almost like, if you know scripture, if you read scripture, you think about the scripture with Paul. When he had the thorn in his side, he was pleading to God saying, God, take this thorn on my side. Like, it's painful, obviously. Like, who would want that? And he was like, I will, because he can do that. He'll heal you. But that thorn is metaphoric for like different things. Like, you never came to me and prayed to me this much when you didn't have this thorn. You know, I didn't see you as much when you didn't have this thorn. You spent quality time with me just to spend quality time with me when you got this thorn. Whatever that thorn is, you know, if a job that you hate, no having money, love loss, hurt, whatever.
Yeah.
And that's what I learned. I said, he just wants your time. And when you can do that, you could get on his time.
Right.
Like, whenever you want to bless me, that's a very huge spiritual maturity that I think sometimes Christians, we all deal with it. I'm dealing with it too.
Right.
I remember telling people, and not to get too personal, but I think it can help someone. When it came to my job, people were like, oh, we're going to apply to jobs. Don't worry, keep your head up. And I was like, y'all, I kept my head up because God, not because the job market.
Exactly.
I don't put my faith in this place or government or people. I put it in God. And not even myself sometimes. I'm like, I be failing myself. You know what I mean? And the thing is that they were like, oh, we're gonna be applying jobs, we're gonna do these things. It was beautiful. But I was like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm at a point where I don't want it unless God sent it, if that makes sense. Right. I can apply to all these jobs, but they could be a very nice disguised demonic thing that's not for me. I want what's for me. Right. And I want that approved with God. So I will I will wait for God's whatever that is. Right. And I did. And I have for a long time. Mm-hmm. Not just the month that y'all see, but like for a long time. This was depressed. Okay. I was depressed. I hated this place. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But also that was you and your stewardship too.
Yes.
So that was a situation where God was like, okay, I'm giving you this for now. How are you
stewarding this?
Exactly.
I had to show up to a job that I hated.
Every day.
On time. I had to steward that well. I had to smile on people's face. I did not want to. Right. Because this was still a blessing. Right. And that was where the maturity switched. And that's what I was saying with my friends. Some of the friends I remember telling, I was like, it sounds great, but this will not happen unless God ordains this.
Exactly.
And when you realize that, I could put in all the work. I really can. But if this is not a part of his alignment, it will not happen. Thanks. And I had to sit with that. So what do you do in that time period? You still praise God. You still thank him for the things that's coming. You still appreciate and be grateful, sit in the gratitude of where you are, because I still had a job in this crazy market when the pandemic, clearly took people's lives, but also jobs and how they were. That's when I sat in a different perspective, and I was just in awe of Christ. I said, okay, when you decide to bless me, I'll wait. Okay. And then Maverick City song, I'll wait for you. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like, it's such a beautiful song. And that was the theme song, honestly, through my dark times. So
definitely.
Yeah, not to get too emotional, but I'm just saying I'm real too. So I just feel like, I think that's a testimony, and I definitely will always forever have his praises in my mouth. So that can help you. Let me know. We could talk about it. I do not mind sharing more in detail off camera.
Well, I definitely think this has been a dope experience.
Yes.
Gotten the world to really get to know you, but also get to really connect with you. And this is
thank you.
Dope. And I'm happy you gave me the opportunity to
yes, Jules. First of all, it's really. She was like, people need to know what you're. I'm like, okay, girl. I mean, and I appreciate it because you. First of all, let me give her flowers. Because, like I said, she was my brand manager for Adulting with Mars. So y'all see all the graphics, all the stuff. She helped me put that into place. The memberships, the structures, the contract. You see me being professional stuff because we did the systems and stuff together. Okay? And she helped me. If you mad about the prices, blame her. Because she's the one that also told me. She's like, we got to make money. I'm like, you're right. But I appreciate you. But no, everyone needs a Julia in your life. And not even just a Julia, right? But like, I think God will send people, like when you have a vision, an idea, and I think everyone has purposes. There are people that are like more maybe leaders and stuff like that. I'm not saying you're not that, because you are a dynamic woman on your own, but she's a serial entrepreneur. I've actually learned from you in a lot of ways. But there are some assignments I think that people get put on your life. I have assignments sometimes where I am to be servient and help someone else achieve a goal. Right. And I think you and I have had this discussion before. Of course, we said this privately, but I want to publicly thank you because I think you've always been there in so many ways that I thank God for you. I do. Because there are sometimes I'm like, I don't even know how to conceptualize some of these things. So this is my first time. But then you came and she's like, hey, we're going to do this and da-da-da-da. And I'm like, oh, wow, thank you. And like, you know what? Don't worry about it. I'll do it. And I'm like, oh, wow, thank you. Of course, you pay people, of course, but like still, like even outside of that, there was really still stuff.
Showing up.
Yeah.
And for me, I show up because I believe.
And that means everything.
Yes.
It really does. To have someone believe in you as only child, away from my home, like, of course I have support, shout out to my friends and stuff, but to have someone in the nitty-gritty, like this is a one-woman business. You've helped. This is our business, okay? She got CEO for a reason because she is the co-founder too. Like I had the idea, but the execution, man, you need a team. You can't do things in life alone. And that's what I'm saying. I really appreciate you and I applaud you in public as well as private, like always, because you've helped me to be where I am to this day. And even to Adulting Is Ghetto, girl, to the logo, bitch. Let's be for real. She got many hats. Y'all like this logo? Okay? For real.
But that's why I like to refer myself as like Alfred and like the clients. You guys
Yes.
are the Batman. So it's like
That's
I'm
what
just
she
happy
said.
being a part and just helping while you guys crush it in the world
Thank
and serve
you.
other people. So it's
Thank
like
you.
that is like worth more to me than the money, than anything, and just also the dynamic of our relationship.
And I appreciate that. But that's not everyone can't do that in a gracious way.
Right.
There has never been a time where she'd be like, well, and there's an attitude behind it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and of course we can have our days, no saying no can't, but like, I think there's a certain type of spirit you have that I think is God-given, because everyone can't do it. I know I struggle to do it. I think God's called me to do certain things with certain people, and I try to do that, and I get challenged because I'm like, well, they're not listening, so.
Right.
And it's like, that's not what I asked you to do. What I asked you to do is do this. And I'm like, okay, so we all work all day, but you do it so gracefully. So I appreciate it. Seriously.
You.
And I appreciate you for coming on, okay?
Yes.
So hopefully y'all got a little tea or just more authenticity.
Y'all got facts, y'all got
Yes.
discernment, y'all got
Amen.
direction. So
I'm a
give it up
pastor
for
on the side. No, I'm
yourselves.
kidding.
Give it up for Jadah.
Hey, y'all.
Give it up for us.
Right. Give it up for Julia.
Give it up to our lovely cameraman.
Yes, Cliff.
He's getting us with the audio, with the lights.
Yes. Put it
So,
up with our BS all the time.
Again, this is what the quality of great people coming together to actually live out an idea, because this is all from you.
Literally, and all from God. I'll tell you that right now. But I thank you so much again. I appreciate y'all tuning in to another episode. Julia, please let us know where we can find you, or just anything, what you do, because I realized we did not even talk about that. Girl, tell us what you do, because she does a lot, okay?
Yeah, definitely. So as Jadah was saying earlier, I'm a brand developer, so I help small businesses really build and scale their businesses, whether it's from their processes to procedures to their structure and getting money and their logos and digital sales, websites, and all that.
Everything under the sun you ain't think of.
Everything. I'm gonna touch every part of your
Yeah.
business, however it needs to. And pretty much you can find me on my Instagram at official_Julia CEO. I'm transitioning and starting the business, revamping the business, and it's gonna be now known from New Mac Group to concierge, a small business.
Oh, I
So
like
it's gonna
that.
be a completely concierge service for
Okay.
small businesses. So
I love
it's
that. Y'all, and I've known her for a few years. I didn't go over this in the beginning because usually I tell everybody how I know people, but I've actually known her for a few years. We met at a conference. What was it?
BYOV.
BYOV.
Yes.
Shout out to them, because we met years ago.
Right.
We didn't work together that year, but we kept in contact because you network. And then somehow, some way, she just hit me up again, or I seen you, and I was like, I'm thinking about doing this business. And then she was like, well, let's have a consultation. And it's literally the rest is history. She worked with my budget. She worked with a lot of things. And I really appreciate you. And, that means a lot. Like I said, the belief system, having someone there, and you were really a blessing.
Definitely.
So check her out. She can help you. Or she can refer to you to someone else.
Definitely.
I mean, she knows a lot of people out here, and she's being humble right now because she hasn't said all the brand names, but it's okay. If you don't want to say it, that's fine. But it's not just my little small business, baby. It's big business too. So you can follow her. Her stuff will be here. And yeah.
Yes, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yes, thank you so much. And I'll catch you on another episode of Adulting Is Ghetto. Bye.
Hey you, welcome to Adulting Is Ghetto. We all know adulting is truly overrated, so what better way to survive this ratchet place than coming together to share our stories and words of wisdom with one another. Join us as we discuss all things adulting from the following aspects of adulthood: finances, relationships, spirituality, and even health. This podcast is a great source to get all tips and tricks as you manage to survive adulting. After all, we already know adulting is truly ghetto.